tiny houses have to do with a mid-career crisis and being a Gen X 50-pluser? Well, that's what I want to dive in today in our Pause and Reflect session. Hi, I'm Jeanette, the North Dawn Coach, and welcome to today's video. So as you know, I like to take some time to reflect on things that are learnings for me, insights, things that are on my mind on our weekend videos. And today, what started me thinking about this was an email that I received, and it had a picture. It was about tiny houses, and it had a picture that was a really, I guess, a generally appealing tiny house. And it reminded me of kind of is it obsession? I think obsession is probably overstating it, but particularly during the pandemic period, the early pandemic period, I used to watch quite a bit of YouTube, quite a bit. That sounds like I was obsessive. Again, not obsessive, just watching some YouTube videos, particularly in those days where we weren't traveling very much at all. And so one of the topics that captured my attention during those days was this whole phenomena of tiny houses. And so I watched many, many videos of different tiny homes, and I was quite fascinated with it. And what's interesting about this, as you get to know me better, is that I have enough stuff that it's not going to fit in a tiny house. I would be on the other end of the spectrum where it's really hard for me to part with things because they all have emotional connection for me. So the idea of actually getting into a tiny house for me is a fairly big jump from where I am currently. But that didn't dissuade me from watching all these particular videos. Anyway, another one of these tiny house images passed through my email this week, and it got me thinking about, I wonder if there's a connection between being a Gen Xer, 50-pluser, and coming through this period of what, we've talked about as mid-career crisis, wanting this, to change to something new, if there's some connection there. And so as I've thought about what that connection could possibly be, and please jump in the comments with your thoughts on this as well, is that there does seem to be some sort of a relationship between people who are in this stage of life and the interest in decluttering, minimizing. There's, many videos you can watch on the decluttering and minimalism. And that seems to stem from this desire to maybe cut down to the things that are most important to us, to minimize to, just having that one serving spoon instead of 10. Do we really need 8 spatulas, that sort of thing? And I think that relates to career changes that we go through as well. So really thinking at this stage of life about, do I need all of this? What are the things that really bring me the most satisfaction and joy? And that's what I'm going to pack into. I think it's probably a leap to describe it as my tiny career, but that's the concept, that we at this stage of life have a desire to really focus on the things that bring us the most joy, that are the most important, that the priority items for us. And the idea of a tiny house and just being able to take the best of the best and bring it into that space without all of the rest of the extras that really just clog up things, create maybe more chaos. That's a really appealing thing at this stage of life. And so that's how I relate it to the careers piece of things. What do you think about that? Do you think that there's a relationship between those two different ideas, that this idea applies to way more than the physical objects of decluttering, but it really applies to this idea of decluttering to just the things that are going to bring us the most joy and satisfaction and priorities in our career at this stage of life. I'd love to hear what you think about that. And as we grow this channel, please like and subscribe and share with others along the way. I sure do appreciate it, and it really helps in the growth. So I'll be back in a couple more days with another video on what we can do about mid-career crisis, and I look forward to seeing you then.